Statistically, you're richer than you've ever been. So why does it still feel like you're falling behind? Even when you're doing everything right, most people believe that feeling rich is a number, a certain salary, a certain house, a balance on a screen. They tell themselves, when I reach that, I'll finally feel secure. When I earn this much, things will calm down. But something strange keeps happening. They reach the goal, and the feeling never arrives. Well, in fact, many people today earn more than the wealthiest leaders did 100 years ago. They live longer, they travel farther, they have climate control, instant communication, endless entertainment, and food from every corner of the world, available in minutes. Things that were once symbols of extreme wealth are now considered basic, and yet they don't feel rich. Not even close. There is an invisible line in our minds. It's the line between not enough and enough. We don't see it, but we feel it every day. The problem is, the line moves. When income rises, expectations quietly rise with it. What once felt like luxury slowly becomes normal. The nicer first apartment felt exciting. Then it felt small. The reliable car felt like freedom. Then it felt old. The stable income felt safe. Then it felt tight. Nothing got worse, but nothing felt better for long. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation, but in everyday life, it feels like this. No matter how far you go, enough stays just one step ahead. Think about your phone. The first smartphone felt incredible, fast, powerful. Now a slightly older model feels unusable. Not because it stopped working. It's not just that the technology changed, but that your expectations did. Money works the same way. Now add one more ingredient: comparison. We don't measure wealth in isolation. We measure it against people around us. And today, people around us means everyone online, not neighbors, not coworkers, the entire internet. You're not comparing yourself to the average person. You're comparing yourself to highlights, the vacation, the new home, the quiet success story with no visible stress, no anxiety shown, no trade-offs shown. Even if your life improves, someone else's improvement appears bigger. So instead of feeling progress, you feel behind. There's a strange pattern researchers noticed. People who doubled their income often reported feeling exactly the same level of financial satisfaction as before. Not happier, not calmer, just adjusted. The new income became the new normal. The new worries replaced the old ones. The number changed. The feeling didn't. We assume wealth creates safety, and at first it does. It removes real fear, rent, food, medical bills. But after basic needs are met, money stops working the way we expect. It no longer removes fear, it changes its shape. Instead of worrying about survival, people worry about status, about lifestyle, about falling behind people they've never met. The stress doesn't disappear, it upgrades. Here's the paradox. People who feel rich often don't have the most. They aren't the top earners. They aren't the loudest success stories. They have something quieter. They have a sense of enoughness. Not because life is perfect, but because their expectations stopped running. They aren't chasing a future version of themselves, who is finally allowed to relax. They're allowed to feel okay now. Money is a tool, but our minds treat it like a scoreboard. And scoreboards are never satisfied. There is always another level, another comparison, another target that promises peace later. But peace keeps moving. Feeling rich has less to do with what you earn and more to do with what you believe you still need. And most people never feel rich because they're waiting for a number to give them permission. Permission to feel safe. Permission to slow down. permission to enjoy what already exists. But money doesn't grant that permission. Only awareness does. And that's the strange part. You can test this quietly, not with a spreadsheet, not with a new goal, but with a question. Right now, ask yourself, if nothing changed for the next year, would my life still be okay? Not perfect, not impressive, just okay. For many people, that question feels uncomfortable, not because their life is big, but because they have trained themselves to believe okay is not allowed. That rest must be earned. That calm comes later. That satisfaction is a reward for future success. So the mind stays busy, always improving, always optimizing, always preparing for a life that hasn't started yet. Here's what rarely gets said. The feeling of being rich doesn't arrive when you cross a line. It arrives when you stop moving the line. When you notice how often your mind says, just a little more, just a little more money, a little more proof, a little more security, and how rarely it says, this is enough for today. That sentence feels dangerous to some people. Like giving up, like settling, but it isn't. It's grounding. It's choosing to live in the present version of your life instead of constantly auditioning for a better one. This doesn't mean ambition disappears. It means ambition stops controlling your nervous system. You can still grow, still build, still want more, but without the quiet fear that your life hasn't started yet, without the sense that you're late, that everyone else figured something out you somehow missed. Because the truth is, most people aren't ahead. They're just running in different directions. So if you don't feel rich, it might not be because you lack money. It might be because your mind never learned when to stop counting. And the moment you notice that, not change it, not fix it, just notice it, the race slows down, the noise gets quieter, and for a brief moment, you realize something strange. You were never as far behind as it felt. You were just measuring with a moving ruler. And maybe feeling rich was never about reaching the end, but about realizing you were already standing somewhere solid. And that's what your strange money is. This isn't financial advice. It's just a story about how money quietly shapes the way we feel. Welcome to your own strange money.